presentations of our volunteer spotlight, Marshall and Tiffany Asper are being honored tonight. Donna Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. As like members of the council and the Asper family back there. Tiffany and Marshall Asper live on the Man Road in Sultan, or in Snohomish County, and are very involved in their community as well as the community of Sultan. They moved to the Sultan area from Kirkland exactly 10 years ago and have 2 children, Wendy and Luke. They were only 19 and 20 at the time and thought Sultan was really in the country. Tiffany works part-time at Pine Creek Nursery, and Marshall is a mechanic at Terminal 46 in Seattle, repairing heavy equipment on the night shift. They started volunteering 6 years ago when Tiffany talked to Debbie Cockle, of course, and Debbie sent her to Susie Hollenbeck to work on the community garden. When asked what he does in the volunteer world, Marshall replied, "I'm a voluntold." He goes anywhere where Tiffany asks him and others ask him to go. They were involved in planting, labor, and watering and harvesting the community garden. Marshall has helped out at the Boys and Girls Club, coaching t-ball, and he still coaches basketball and baseball. Tiffany and Marshall also volunteer at the food bank. Tiffany designed the beautiful reading garden behind the Sultan Elementary Library. They spent last summer paving, digging, planting, and recruited kids and parents to help. And there's a picture of it in your. While living in Skyview Drive, Marshall took on an enormous volunteer project. There is 2 acres of vacant land with a grass field that PUD owns, and the residents have been using it for picnics and ball games for years. PUD announced that they were going to fence the property, hence denying access, and Marshall worked with PUD to build a gate in the fence so that the neighborhood could still use the property for a community park. He sought out the help of Elizabeth Emmons, Dave Summers, Mayor Carolyn Eslick, and council members Sarah Davenport Smith and council member Marianne Naisland, and other community members. Brian Wood and Brenda White with PUD were very helpful, and after months of communicating, the gate was installed and the community has its park back, thanks to the efforts of Marshall Asper and his friends. Tiffany has held a leadership position with Operation Christmas Child, a massive undertaking at Crosswater Church. Thousands of small gifts for poor children all around the world. They just love kids, said Pastor Day. Tiffany just resigned from Sultan Elementary PTO, where she was vice president for 2 years. She was my rock and works hard for the Sultan students, commented PTO President Elizabeth Emmons. Their other projects in volunteering include the annual Farm Festival, building floats for shindig parades, cleanup day, continued coaching sports, music ministry, children's ministry, women's ministry, Crosswater Summer Day Camp, remodeling the new church. They also reach out to help their neighbors in any way they can. When asked where they see themselves in the volunteer world in the next 2 to 5 years, they both eagerly said, "Oh, we're going to be here." They're working on a landscape plan now for the Crosswater Church on its new location on 3rd Street. Since they're moving to Sultan, out on Trout Farm Road, Marshall is stepping down from the position of president of their HOA, where they're living now, and he's looking for somewhere else he can serve the community in a similar capacity. I'm proud to introduce Marshall and Tiffany and their children. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah. Well, I was going to read a letter that I wrote for our newsletter. We have a homeowners association newsletter we send out quarterly. The problem is the letter quotes mostly what she has already said about it, but I'm going to read it anyways because that's what I brought. It starts with a few months ago, but it should say about 2 years ago because it's a dated letter now. A few months ago, I noticed the property line markers on the PUD lot located at the entrance of the neighborhood. I called PUD, and after a few transfers on the phone, found that PUD had enough of the annual vandalism. It's a big open lot on the corner, so about once a year someone would take it upon themselves to drive through it. and then they would also steal the no motorized vehicle signs. So PUD said they were going to build a fence, and PUD explained to them that it wasn't just the damage to the grass, but the contamination of the grass could affect the well, and because we're a community well there, that wellhead feeds about 156 houses. They could also affect what happened far from the well, and if they ever had to move it, it would be a bad thing. Okay, so it says, we agreed that the fence would be probably the best thing to keep the community water safe, but I wasn't too super happy when they told us that Skyline View was not going to have access, which is their right because it is their private property. PUD owns the lot. The association sold it to them about a little over 10 years ago, but they own it. It's their private property. They're going to fence it. I informed PUD that community had been using and enjoying the open lot for many years, and the HOA was interested in what could be done to ensure continued access for the community. And this is the best part. To help PUD with their decision making, I spread the word about what was happening, and members of the Sultan community rallied behind, so there was a lot of phone calls made on my behalf, or the association's behalf, because they weren't going to let us in at first. So we rallied, and that helped PUD decide that we could work together and protect the wellhead. The community now has access to the property, and in return, we deter vandalism and clean up after ourselves. So a very special thanks to Mayor Carolyn Eslick, Sultan Councilwoman Sarah Davenport, and Marianne Naslin, Snohomish Councilman Dave Summers, and then PUD Senior Manager Brant Wood, and PUD Liaison Brenda White, and then Community Member Elizabeth Emmons. And then I closed with, this shows how important collaboration is. This was a group effort on behalf of the community. Sincerely, HOA President Marshall Asper. So thank you, those of you that directly, because we're also a good ways out of the city limits. So, you know, what happens down the road sometimes stays down the road. But I do appreciate everyone stepping up to help us. It's a beautiful 2-acre lot that PUD mows and maintains, and we used to have a lot of fun playing in it, and I was really worried about losing that because we do live down the dead-end road, and it is nice to have that. So we got access because everyone took, helped us out. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Marshall, because we couldn't serve and volunteer the way we do without his help. And our kids, Wendy and Luke, for being awesome. They're in the back there.
Would like to come up and join.
Oh,
yeah,
Wendy,
come on up here.
come on up.
Absolutely, because without their cooperation, you couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about here.
And the wonderful part is that you're